was actually scrolling my phone earlier and I saw a lot of news about South Korea's old age, some issues within South Korea, some hints of racism, the issues on, everything, bullying, especially for Southeast Asian, for people of color, and everything. These things, well, they show some portion of South Korea, the society itself. But with all these things, there is the other side. There are the good sides. And in this video, I'll be sharing with you some of the few reasons, some of the many reasons why you should move to South Korea, especially in 2025. So, as you all know, South Korea is one of the advanced economies, but they never achieved it like without hard work. All of these things were the result of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears, literally and figuratively, of the Korean people and also some foreigners who settled here and contributed to the economy. And that leads me actually to one of the biggest reasons why you should move to South Korea in 2025. It's because of the land of opportunities. It's the land of activities. It's the land of economic boom. It's a land of no money. You have a lot of earning potentials here in South Korea, and you can maximize your skill set, your skills in terms of language, your origin, your country of origin could be a target market of Korean companies, which hence you can maximize that. So economically speaking, Korea is quite advanced and it gives a lot of opportunities for earning money and saving up money. And with the old aged, super aged economy, that's what they call it. With the super aged economy, they tend to have a lot of open spots, especially for work that are not being done by the Koreans. So I'll be honest with you, majority of the jobs that are open for foreigners here in South Korea are actually the jobs that Koreans would not be doing. They're not interested of doing these things. The dangerous job, the difficult job. I remember they call it some 4D or something that includes the word dangerous, difficult, dirty. I forgot the other D. But these jobs are sometimes, most of the time Koreans will not be doing them. So, looking at it on that perspective, it might seem very bad. But for foreigners, especially those who as much I don't want to offend anyone, but like who are not really that well versed in terms of their educational attainment, or probably they just settled on just accomplishing their bachelor's degree or taking technical or vocational courses. It's actually an open opportunity. The only thing you have to do is actually learn the language and probably go to South Korea to work. So a lot of people, if you call them, if you remember EPS, that's for Filipinos. There's an EPS program wherein they hire directly, Filipinos are hired directly by Koreans to work in South Korea. And the EPS are actually given E9 visa. So in that they fall on that visa category. But so comparing their income in the Philippines compared to what they're earning here in South Korea, it's so different. You won't be able to find factory work in the Philippines with 80,000 salary. Yes, it's dangerous, it's dirty, it's difficult, but working in South Korea, it's like actually trading off your energy, your youth, your body's power with money. I don't want to sound very bad, but that's how it is. It's very plain and simple. That in Korea, if you have power, you have youth, if you have strength, you can actually earn a lot of money. And some people would opt to start living in South Korea with that kind of visa and eventually exploring other visas as they stay longer here in the country. So probably 95% of the people who left South Korea after working here would agree with me when I say it's so convenient living in South Korea. From the transportation, from the airport connected to the city, cities are connected via airport, via transportation, via subway, via train station. The delivery service, the if you order online, there's a possibility of you ordering tonight and then arriving tomorrow morning. All these conveniences is what signifies the Korean life for me. It's something that I cannot really trade off. It's something that I cannot really give up. That's one thing I want to say. That I really like the conveniences I got here in South Korea. That it would take a lot of money, effort, and opportunity offered by other countries for me to give up that convenience. I would remember waking up when I was working in the Philippines. I would wake up like 3 hours before my actual working time, just because I have to travel for 2 hours just to reach my office. In South Korea, my work starts at 9 a.m. and my house is like 10 minutes subway ride away from my workplace. That's my current that's my current house. But I used to live like 40 minutes away. My house is 40 minutes subway away from my current workplace, from my workplace. But even the 40-minute subway ride, I never find any dull moment during that 40-minute ride because I'm just seated in the subway. I don't have to um, mingle with other people, probably squeeze with other people because the subway is packed with people. It never happened in my almost a year of living in that apartment. And that says a lot when it comes to their transportation. Probably a sign, I'm not so sure if this is scientifically proven, but the way I see it is people are if people cannot find any merit to using cars, instead they would opt to use transportation, public transportation. That for me signifies an efficient public transportation system, and that exists in South Korea. Probably because cars are expensive here, but the way I understood it, it's since I can go from point A to point B conveniently with public transportation. Why would I opt to bring a car? That's very inconvenient. You have to find the parking. I have to, navigation is very difficult. And as a foreigner, I'm not really that familiar with the road, so I would just stay with the subway wherein I can use apps to easily navigate. I mean, you've heard a lot of the conveniences I enjoyed, and there's one thing I really like to share about South Korea is their food. It's very delicious. I liked it. And especially every time I eat kimchi, I feel like I get healthier every day. I'm not so sure because if it's fermented or anything else, or since it's vegetable, but like every time I eat kimchi, I feel like my body is well regulated. And well, I'm not so sure if it's a proven science, but I think that's one of the contributing factor why South Koreans live for a long period of time and they're very healthy. At the age of 60, 70, people are still playing volleyball. I used to play with my aunt in one of the gyms nearby, and then there are 60 years old who were doing some volleyball rolling like they're not 60 years old. And I think I can attribute it with the food they have. And if you try to eat in South Korea, you will be probably amazed by how they prepare their food. So if you sit at a meal table, they will be giving you a lot of side dishes. It's called banchan in South Korea. They will provide you at least 6 to 7 banchans, and you'll end up eating only your meal will be 10% meat, 10% rice, and then the rest will be banchan. And sometimes I keep on saying this on my workmates. Sometimes I can just eat the banchan. I'll be satisfied because the banchans are also very delicious. The side dishes are also very delicious, and that's something I really enjoyed here in South Korea. And the food is very delicious. Although if I miss my Filipino food, it's easy for me to go to Yewa, or that's where a street of Filipino food is available every Sunday, or I can just order online. There are a lot of ordering um, shops and apps available, and also some remittances like Cross is providing opportunity for me to buy Filipino food. But In my 4 years in South Korea, I rarely miss Filipino food because was able to adjust easily with the Korean food, and it's very delicious. And one time I went home in the Philippines, and I actually craved for for Korean food like kimchi. So probably that's one thing I was able to adapt to the palate of the Koreans and then able to enjoy their food. But in reality, it's very delicious. So I mean, that's one compelling reason why you should move to South Korea in 2025, in my opinion. Probably this last reason why I think you should move to South Korea in 2025 is that if you live in South Korea, although this is not imposed by the society, there will be an inherent upgrade in terms of your fashion sense. I'm not so sure how it happened. It was very seamless. In my comparing my first year in South Korea to my fourth year, there's been a shift in terms of the fashion choices I made. Although I become more accustomed to like pieces that lasts longer. I'm also more accustomed into the idea of like wearing something that makes me feel comfortable and fashionable. I'm not a fashion expert, but because of what I see every day, the Koreans are very fashionable. I tend to pick some pieces, like ideas from the people around me, and makes me want to, okay, why not I incorporate this change in my outfit? Why not buy, instead of wearing fitted jeans, just wearing the loose ones? Why not wearing these kinds of color and everything? And actually, that influenced me how I wear my clothes these past few years, especially with the color. If you go to South Korea, you would rarely see bright colors. It's usually like this black, a hint of white, some gray. That's the color palette. And I see this as a positive when it comes to moving to South Korea, although there's a negative to it because you might feel insecure or like probably compare yourself. But because people don't really care much about others, it's more of the freedom to express, and it helps me upgrade my fashion. And for me, presentation is important. Presentation is key. How you present yourself to people at work, to your friends, to social media, it is part of your image. It's a part of who you are. I mean, you can't filter how many ways you present yourself, but it still is a symbol of who you are, a portion of who you are. And probably that's one of the many reasons why I really enjoyed moving to South Korea, and probably wanted to invite you to go to South Korea. So for you to see it for yourself. There will be this inherent push for you to be active, to exercise, to go to the gym, to do jogging, running, to buy clothes, to be more fashionable, presentable, professional, just because you're in South Korea. I'm not sure how it happened, but that's how I felt. And I hope that would not be the primary reason why you go to South Korea, but it helps you motivate. Probably makes you look forward your life here in South Korea. And if you have any interests or probably topics that you want me to discuss, leave them in the comment section. I will surely read them and probably plan some things to discuss, especially in this HAJA episode that I'm currently making. And I hope with these videos you get to share and see the life here in South Korea and probably what your future life would be. Till then,